Hey there, this is Derek from Pacific Coast Auto in Japan, and we're looking here at a Toyota Cresta JZX90. And so this one here is the 1JZ engine, rear-wheel drive, four-door sedan. Now a lot of people know about the Mark II and the Chaser. Those are chassis mates with this, the Cresta. This one's the rarest of the three, but they run the same basic car, and they're very similar looking, just front and rear fascias are different. Actually, the whole body is different in a sense. The doors are different, the fenders are different, the roof is different, but they still run the same chassis. They still run a very similar interior, and the Cresta is what they wanted to be the luxurious sports sedan. And man, do I ever love these. These are, and if you've been a subscriber to this channel for a while, you've probably heard me talk about how much I like these, the Mark IIs and the Chasers, and the JZX100s. This engine is a lot of the reason why, but not the entire reason. The vehicles feel great, like they're well overbuilt, not just in the engine. And people say this about the 1J and the 2J engines, is that Toyota made these overbuilt engines. Yep. And they also made overbuilt cars. And so, although this is a 1993, the car still feels like it's only like a 5-year-old car. I'm in the market right now to buy a new car for myself, and I've decided which car that it is. I can't find very many that are in good shape because it's a newer car and they tend to wear out faster. Not like these, and I would love to have one of these, but I need 7 seats in mine. So the engine oil is a bit low, and the coolant is fine. It looks like it's spilling, but it's only because I opened it. This has 165,000 kilometers on it. Timing belt was done at 152 in 2016. Close that up. And that's twin turbo with the 2.5 liter. Makes 280 horsepower, and one of the most reliable 280 horsepowers, as well as smooth and nice and responsive. And it's weird because inline 6-cylinders are often not very responsive. This one feels great. There's nothing bad that I can say about those engines. I mean, sometimes they leak oil. There you go. But still, what's a little bit of a leaked oil? Now I'm going to check the auction inspection sheet. This has already been sold to somebody in the USA, bought for them by us at the auctions. And I'll quickly do this. It's a 93 Cresta. Tourer V is the one with the turbo. Twin turbos in this case. Auction rate 3.5. It says exterior D, interior C, but I have to say that this might be a C or a B for the exterior. The exterior looks really good except for 2 areas of damage which are underneath the car that you can't actually see. And I'll show you that when we get to it. 165,731 kilometers on here. It's original white. It's purchased from user, 1 owner vehicle. First time at auction. And it has alloy wheels and tires in the car. And so the ones that are on here are the original wheels and tires with winter tires on them. And kind of scratched up wheels. Another set of the exact same wheels with non-winter tires came in the car. And so probably the best bet is to get those ones put onto the car and then ship it, because you can't ship the cars with the parts in the cars. Okay, so going to the report here, it says windshield rock chip, that's nothing to worry about. Interior wear and dirty, that's nothing to worry about as well. And then winter tires on here. It says underside surface rust, which looks really good, but there is some corrosion on the undersides of the sills. I'll show you. Trunk opener doesn't work. That's true. It's probably a cable that has snapped. There's no recoil in it, so you can't feel the spring anymore. So the cable has slipped out of the spot. A lot of times you can just pop it back into place because it just comes unhooked from where it's hooked up. And then the seat is saggy, and it's quite saggy. So I'll show you that as well when we go into it. If you look at the body diagram here, there's only some scratches on the rear bumper, and the rest of the body looks fantastic. Now there are a couple of areas over here with a little bit of surface rust. I'll show you those. It wasn't marked on here, but it's kind of part of this A2 because it wraps around the corner here. Okay, well let's do the once around. The condition of the paint is good and bright. And I do like the looks of these Crestas. The front end is kind of Chaser-like. A little bit less angled than the Mark II. I think most people agree that the Mark II is the best looking out of all of the JZX90s, but everyone's got their own opinion on what's the best, and the Cresta being the rarest of them all, I can definitely see some value in having what nobody else has, or having something that nobody knows about. To people who don't know the car, it can kind of look like a Camry of the era. But Yeah, Toyota in the 90s in Japan was all about the cars overlapping and competing with one another. Because to the average person, rear-wheel drive doesn't add that much to the feeling, but to people who like driving, it sure does. And I guess Toyota had decided that, you know, it's not worth it to have a much more expensive to build car called the Cresta Chaser Mark II when there's already a vehicle like the Camry that is much cheaper to build and kind of a better package for people who don't care about cars that much. With this, you have the double wishbone suspension, not a cheap thing. And Toyota kept going with these. They still make the same type of car called the Mark X. So it went to Mark II, and then JZX90, and then 100 is next, and then 110 is next after that, and then they changed over to the Mark X. And the Mark X doesn't have inline 6-cylinder engine anymore. Cresta. Now this is, I believe, a similar car to what used to be called the Cressidia in the States, but they never got the twin turbo engines. And I don't think that I know they didn't get the generation after this one. But I don't know if they got this generation either in the States. I just don't know. Okay, going into the car here. So, let me show you. I forgot what I was doing. Got carried away there. Okay, so here's the A2 on the back bumper. It's right here is a scuff. And actually that scuff continues very lightly through this area here. And then right here as well. You can see some surface rust. Was not mentioned on the auction sheet. There's also a couple of tiny little bits of rust here and here. Now the AU4 is a super large scratch, super large dent, and they pointed to the underside at the front, and there is one there, but there's also one on the other side of the rear. So it looks like the car was jacked up, possibly not in the right places. Can you see that? And that has corrosion in this area. And so the good news is the car is fantastic everywhere except for there. So spend some money to get that in good order. And I still think you're coming out on top because otherwise it's very good everywhere. You can see the same thing here, but it's not as bad. And the good news is that you can't see any of that when you're just looking at the car. And so if you were to repair it, you don't have to be as careful as you would, say, repairing the same sort of thing that's on the painted surface that needs to be shiny and nice looking. Okay, to the inside, we are 100% stock here. This is an automatic. These cars came in manuals if you wanted, but the manuals are so hard to find and so much more expensive nowadays. If you've got the means and you want a manual transmission, I say go for it because it's still going to be valuable when it comes time to sell it. People will always want these, especially in the manuals. And especially since drifting has become a popular thing with these cars. But the automatics are good driving cars. They just feel good as automatic cars. And they're nice and powerful and comfortable. There's the sag in the seat. Lots of dirtiness on the floor mat. Pretty simple gauges. 166,000 kilometers doesn't scare me on a car like this. This is the original steering wheel, which is brilliant. Single airbag in this. AC works and is nice. In fact, mechanically the car feels great. Nothing seemed like it was bothering me. I pulled it out here. The steering feels good. The chassis feels fine. Doesn't smell inside. Brakes are good. Place for your cup. You only get one. Comes a CD player and tape deck. This one doesn't have the oscillating fans, what are these called? Vent pieces. There's ones that electronically go back and forth that are very cool. Unfortunately, doesn't have it. Okay. Now the trunk's dirty in this, but the trunk has a really good amount of space in it because cars before this car used to have trunks that were lower than this. This trunk is a lot taller than most cars were leading up to this. And so it gives you a lot of space. To give you an idea, 3 of the 4 wheels were inside this trunk. And you likely can't do that with most modern cars now. And underneath, here's something that I would watch out for if this is my car. Underneath has towels. Now it doesn't smell like mold in here, but it's weird to see towels back here. It might mean that the car leaks in the trunk. So do watch out for that, but there is no signs of corrosion underneath there. Okay, winter wipers. They have like this casing on them so that it doesn't freeze in the joints of the wiper. Okay, and good rear seating room. I would love to have one of these. Unfortunately, there are no station wagons. There is a JZX100 looking station wagon called the Mark II something. I don't know. Qualis or something like that? But it's actually a front wheel drive, just made to look like the rear wheel drive. I don't think there were any JZX rear wheel drive cars. Anyways, that's going to be the end of this, and hope you enjoyed this walk around. Hope everybody starts to enjoy these as much as I do. But thank you for watching, everyone, and have a nice day.